This was me 9 years ago playing the original Dead Space. Wait, get in the lift, get in! Ah! I've never been good with horror, but in recent years I've played a lot of Resident Evil games, so my tolerance has gotten a lot better. And with Dead Space Remake releasing at the end of this month, it's time to go back to this original that many people consider a classic. I previously played a few hours of it, crapped myself, turned it off, and haven't gone back to it since. But how does it hold up now? Let's find out. The opening of this game is creepy. There's something weird going on a mining rig called the USG Ishimura where necromorphs are running rampant. Isaac Clarke is an engineer, and I love the idea of an average guy having to do all of these things, because in the Resident Evil games the characters are soldiers or policemen, but in this you're just some average guy and you use engineering tools to dismember the necromorphs. As an enemy type, they are so cool. Instead of shooting them in the head, you have to chop off their limbs with a cutter tool, which has a horizontal and vertical mode. And throughout the whole game, it never gets old. Carefully having to aim at their arms to chop them off is so satisfying, and at the start, it creates a serious amount of tension. Honestly, at times, the atmosphere is tense, but the game isn't scary at all. And it's down to two things: the lighting and the resources. I would put this game in the action horror genre, but ammo is so comically easy to come by that by the end of the game, I had no joke over 100 plasma cutter bullets. At one point I thought I was playing the game on easy, but no, I was playing it on normal difficulty. I even did some googling, and many people said that even on the harder difficulties, the game is still really easy. And it took all the scariness out of it. I was no longer creeping around every corner and trying to make every bullet count. I was sprinting around like a headless chicken, lumping bullets into the necromorphs. I wasn't chopping off their limbs, rather I was just spraying at them, and it just killed them eventually because I just had that many bullets. On top of that, the game isn't very dark, so I had no trouble seeing or hearing when the next enemy was going to attack. So if you're here to know if you can play this game, if you're a little baby like me, then yes you can, go ahead. It is pretty fun, but it's definitely not scary. The game tries to counteract the amount of ammo you get by lumping loads of enemies at you, and it made the later combat encounters very frustrating. I heard loads of great things about Dead Space, but I just don't get it. Is it terrible? No, it's not. It's actually pretty good, but it's no masterpiece. Ultimately, I was more annoyed than anything with the economy and difficulty because the rest of the game is actually quite well made. Now, I'm not here to just crap on the game. There are plenty of positives. The game never gets in your way. In Callisto Protocol, it felt like there was some stupid QTE around every corner or a crawl-through event that all but took control from the player. So in modern day, where the UI is super cluttered in all the games, and games constantly get in your way with these stupid events and stupid tutorials, I really have to commend Dead Space on how good it is about not getting in your way. It just gives you the game and lets you play it, and it's something I can't say for many modern games. The enemy variety is also solid. In my 7 hours, I never got bored of the enemies themselves. Callisto Protocol... Sorry. I was still spraying and praying, but the difference in enemy designs was nice to switch things up. Even the basic necromorphs are so fun to kill. There aren't many boss fights to speak of, which is a positive, because I feel a lot of horror game bosses that I've fought are quite unmemorable, and all you do is lure them around the room to use some environmental thing to kill them, and I'm glad Dead Space showed some restraint in this regard. The game still looks quite good. I was playing it on a mixture of my 1440p monitor and my Steam Deck, and in both cases, the game still looked really good. Even the lip syncing is surprisingly good, so there's no complaints there. Like, this game is from 2008. The gore also holds up really well, and the blood and guts flying off of necromorphs as you kill them is just very satisfying. My favourite part, however, about this game is the pacing and the layout of it. It presents itself as almost an open ship you can explore, but actually it's broken up into chapters, but I never felt restricted. Every chapter bar the final one is impeccably paced, and I have to shout out the map and navigation system. There was only one time when I felt lost, and apart from that, I always knew where to go, so everything felt snappy and engaging. It's the one absolutely amazing thing that Dead Space does. And I think that pacing and how well the game is laid out is something that's a lot harder to get right than all the other things that the game got wrong, like the economy. So it just felt like a mixed bag in that regard. I won't go into spoilers because I don't want to ruin it for anyone going into the remake blind, but I have to say the story was intriguing, and while I don't think the characters were all too great, the overarching plot was fascinating and brought in elements that I would have never expected, and I can't wait for other people to experience. Overall, Dead Space is a solid game. The UI and then the layout of the map and how easy it is to navigate and the pacing of the game is done so well. And chopping off limbs will never get old. But I think the game failed on the atmosphere and item economy, so the game never really felt scary or tense bar like the opening hour, so it really fell flat there for me. I understand that playing games on harder difficulties is an option, but I review games on the intended difficulty, and I had more ammo than I knew what to do with, so there was no tension of trying to make every bullet count. Look, I had fun, but by no means should this be mentioned in the same breath as Resident Evil 4, because that game is absolutely phenomenal. I'm still going to get the remake, but this dampened my hype a bit. After watching gameplay of it, it does seem to be a lot darker, which will add to the tension. I also hope they rebalance the in-game economy too, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Check out my review for Callisto Protocol and join the Discord down below. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you all on the next video.